Thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. I release a Legacy video every Friday. If you want to support the channel, you can do so by joining the Patreon. Here you can gain access to continuously updated documents like a sideboard guide, a primer on Legacy Doomsday, and gain access to the Neville Shoot Discord server. So come join the community at patreon.com/NevilleShootMTG. Thanks for tuning in. I hope you enjoy the video. Hello everyone, Martin here back with a Legacy video, and today I am actually going to be playing in one of the Legacy challenges. I hardly ever get to do this, and I hardly ever, even more hardly ever, get to record. But today I was able to square things with my wife and the kids and have everything sort of fall into place where it was possible for me, so that's great. Unfortunately, it was not on a weekend where there was a showcase challenge. That would have been a lot of fun. Those are usually like 150, 200, 250 player events. This is not that big. There is currently 5 minutes until the tournament starts, and currently we have 53. So I mean that's fine. I think I played in one like 6 months ago or something on the Saturday, and there were like sub 40. It was like 36 or 35 or something. So this is at least a little bit bigger, so that's cool. This is the Sunday event, and yeah, let's go look at the deck. So I'll be playing this Dimir Turbo, Force of Habit there, Dimir Tempo Doomsday. This is a deck that I slapped together after like 1 or 2 days after the ban, and basically like this is I played a list incredibly close to this like 2 or so months ago. You can find it in the deck dumps because I actually trophied with it. But then when I kept playing it, like the results didn't really keep up. And I just basically, I think I did what a lot of people did, which was like look to Dimir Reanimator, the recently deceased Dimir Reanimator deck, for inspiration. And this is basically an interpretation of that approach, but with Doomsday instead of the Entomb Reanimate combo. And I was going to say something else, but surprisingly, this has been just really performing for me. So this is my spreadsheet of results, and oh, it looks like it's ordered here in matchups. So like I am sitting at around, or not at around, at 80 matches and a 61-19 record. So I mean, obviously, I am primed to go 0-3 drop in this event, but I mean the record is pretty enticing. I don't believe I've ever had this high of a win rate after that many matches. It's obviously still low in terms of a proper sample size, but it is large enough, I think, to glean some info here. And this list, I trophied with it less than 24 hours ago. I'm not changing anything, so that means people can look it up. My opponents can look it up and know, or they will see the exact list that they're up against. They won't know that, of course, but can probably piece it together. Basically, this deck it's the best Doomsday deck I've ever played versus specifically Blue-Red Delver. And Barrow-Goyf is a major part of that. But it's also, I think Dimir Doomsday, or just like any Turbo Doomsday deck, has always been more or less favored versus the other spell-based combo decks, except for Reanimator. And that advantage, I think, is pushed even harder here because we're still a deck that has a lights out combo in terms of like Dark Ritual Doomsday, etc. But now we're just also like a tempo deck that plays Tamiyo and Wasteland and Thoughtseize and like Bowmasters and stuff. So I think it is very well positioned versus spell-based combo. Where I don't like this deck as much as Turbo is against, as a very broad way to put it, the green decks. So like lands, Cradle Control, Maverick, White of the Reliquary, decks. They do not really care about Tamiyo. They have 1,000 ways to tutor up their Karakas. They have like the White of the Reliquary is probably the creature that has killed me the most. Um, like a White of the Reliquary doesn't really care about Barogoyf at all. I mean, it at most it'll force the Barogoyf to trade with it, but even then, it's like it can fetch up the Talon Gates and blink itself out or phase itself out and all that stuff. So yeah. But yeah, so I'm hoping not to face a lot of green decks here versus Karn Forge. This deck has felt pretty good, I have to say. I was already kind of fine playing against that deck with Turbo Doomsday. It just feels like like Turbo Doomsday is a little bit faster and has Force of Wills compared to the Turbo Forge deck. Here we slow down, so that's obviously not to our advantage. But then we have Wastelands that can like prolong the early game, so that kind of can work to nullify that effect of being slower. Yeah, I think it's pretty cool. And then most of our sideboard is either, against other combo decks, against the colorless decks, or it is against the fair decks, the fair blue decks, mind you. And yeah, a little bit of graveyard hate. Well, I think the it's almost 5 p.m. here in Copenhagen, which means the tournament is about to start. Okay, we're up against a player that has almost solely vintage results. I just looked them up. We're on the draw for round number one, and the few results they have in Legacy is with mono black Stompy, according to MTG Goldfish. I think I'll keep this hand. I would have loved to be on the play here, but can't have everything. We have a Force of Will. We have Thoughtseize. We're just missing a Doomsday or a Barogoyf to do something. Ancient Tomb. This looks like a Chalice. Okay. So I think I force this. We have enough like relevant 1-drops in our deck and in our hand currently. I think I am gonna cycle the Street Wraith here in case I spike the Doomsday. Bowmasters. Don't expect Bowmasters to end up doing a whole lot versus this deck, but we'll see. Here is the Thoughtseize. Okay, so this is Moon Stompy. And they don't have any red mana currently, so that's the one thing we've got going for us here. We're going to take the One Ring because that is the spell they can actually cast next turn. All right, pass the turn. We really need to hit a Doomsday. That would be great. And they didn't top deck another One Ring, so that's nice. Oh, come on, deck. All right, let's pass here. I don't know if like flashing in Bowmasters is going to do anything here. Rather, like, as opposed to fetching a Surveil land. Oh, well, they found their red source. So this is probably Fable of the Mirror Breaker then? Or is it Pyro Goyf? Okay, it's Pyro Goyf. So I take 4. Alright, that was not the best here. I'm gonna Surveil, because then we can always flash in Bowmasters to chump block next turn. Here comes the Sewers. Another land, huh? Ponder, I'll take it. Okay. Well, there's the Doomsday. The problem is if we cast it now, we lose. Okay, so what's going to happen is I am going to take the Doomsday, and then I'm going to pass. And then I have to decide if my life is going to revolve around, here's Fable, taking 5 now, that will drop me to 5. That means that my Street Wraith no longer works. But if we do find, the Street Wraith is in the graveyard anyways, we can win without Street Wraith in the pile here with the resources we have. Or I flash in the Bowmasters now, and then I'm sort of kind of in trouble next turn anyways. I think I'm just going to take the 5 here. I drop to 5, and then I fetch down to 4, get my second Surveil land here, and please, anything that draws a card. Any cantrip. That's not it. Okay, bottom or graveyard. 1 draw step to rule them all. Days. Okay, I say 1 draw step to rule them all. That's actually not true. We do get to chump block here for a turn, so. And the problem is, well, I don't know. I suppose, hang on. Fury doesn't have haste. So if I Doomsday right now, and then on their combat step, they attack with 2 attackers, I flash in Bowmasters. I think I actually like that. Yeah, let's hardcast the Doomsday just to not. I think this is harder for them to figure out. We're still like dead to a ton of things here, like a Blood Moon, another Goyf. Chalice of the Void probably kills us too here. Well, we need Thassa. We want Cavern of Souls. Consider probably. Yeah, and then basically the rest doesn't matter, so we can hide a couple of cards here. We can at least put a Force of Will in there, make them have to think about a Force of Will missing. That might influence their choice. And I guess a Cavern of Souls. But I mean, if they have Chalice for 2 here, we can't, like, we won't have time. But I think this is fine. So the plan is to draw consider away the cavern, I guess, and then draw Edge of Autumn into Thassa, and then play Thassa with 1 card left in the deck. So if they have instant removal for her, that gets us 2, but I don't expect them to. All right, so Force of Will on the bottom, then Thassa, then Edge, Cavern, Consider on top. Okay. And this rummage they get to do here is pretty frightening. I would not at all be surprised if they kill us here. The Bombardiers does it as well. And I can't flash in the Bowmasters ahead of time here because, yeah, like I said, then they could just Fury. Here comes that. Let that trigger resolve. Dark Ritual. Cast Bowmasters. Ping the Shaman. Shaman is pinged. And we chump. Chump, ba-dum-dum-dump. Alright, can you kill me with your 4 cards in hand? This doesn't look good. 4 mana. Chandra. Oh, shoot. They can shoot me for 2, right? And I am at 2. Bummer. Okay. They got me. Alright, cool. They take game 1. Moon Stompy, huh? I didn't really prepare for that. I even removed the Dismember I've been playing as a concession to Moon Stompy and replaced it with a Fatal Push, so it's not great. The Force of Negations are good. I think Barrow-Goyfs are pretty good, potentially anyways. I don't think Bowmasters is good. I also don't really think Tamiyo is very good here, I have to say. I think I'm going to board out 3 copies of Tamiyo. It's either 3 copies of Tamiyo or 2 copies and then the Murktide. Murktide flies and is like a closer, so okay, I'm going to try this. I'm not actually sure how, like, I don't think the Barrow-Goyfs have been that good for me in the past in this matchup, but I know people like them, and like theoretically they're kind of nice. Like a turn 1 Dark Ritualed Barrow-Goyf. Okay, that's not that, but I like this hand. And I'm gonna play Marsh Flats here, get my basic Swamp and cast Thoughtseize. That means I can't Daze, but I think getting basic Swamp here is going to be pretty important. Okay. Chrome Mox, Sundering Eruption. So they have a Blood Moon next turn if I don't take the Chrome Mox. Yeah, I think I have to take Chrome Mox here. Like, taking the Sundering Eruption is also tempting, but then they Chrome Mox Blood Moon me, and I don't want that. They have Disruptor Flute, but we have Barrow-Goyf, and Disruptor Flute is going to name Doomsday, I'm pretty sure. Yep, Doomsday is named, but now we get to cast Ponder. off of basic island. I would love a force effect here. I do get that. I also get dark ritual, which is not bad. Oh, was I supposed to maybe even take the dark ritual and get the Barragoyf out now? I think I was. Yeah, that was a little bit of a punt here. If they Blood Moon us here, it's fine. Because we have our basics up and running. Fable. So I could Daze and then Dark Ritual Barragoyf. But then I don't have Force. I think I'm going to need Force for their Pyrogoyf or their Chandra. Alright, I'm going to let the Fable enter play. I'm going to draw Dark Ritual. And then we need one more land here to cast Doomsday off of Dark Ritual. And while we wait for that to happen, here is Barragoyf. And that Ancient Tomb is like costing them here. They also have to think about what they rummage away because it's going to grow the Goyf. And there is Blood Moon, so now Goyf is a 4/5. Actually, dazing something here is not terrible. Yeah, they want their attack here to not lose to a daze, I think. I guess they could have a Spirit Guide. They have one unknown. No, actually, they have multiple unknowns here. So if they have a Spirit Guide and I daze, it's pretty terrible. But then, yeah, no, I am going to daze here. And what I like about this daze, assuming it works, is that then I have Dark Ritual pitched cast Force of Will next turn. Now Goyf is just massive. I guess they jump here. Now they get the mirror thing. Okay, so this will deal 6. This will deal 6, so it's not going to kill my Barragoyf, but then next turn they can do the thing. So I can't let this enter play. I think I am going to pitch Dark Ritual here and keep my Consider. And then just sort of accept that the game is no longer going to be about resolving Doomsday. Wow, it's 7/8? That's so sick. Well, I could like cast Brainstorm looking for Petty Theft. That would put them to 2 life. But maybe it's just fine attacking them here and leaving this massive threat. I would be shocked if they don't block here. Yeah. I think I will cast Brainstorm though. Get rid of these Doomsdays and pass with Force of Will up. The One Ring. How about no Scott? And then you're dead. So we just about got there here for game 2. Now the difficult on the play or on the draw for game 3. I think maybe I need to bring in Consigned Memory. Maybe that was a mistake not bringing them in for game 2. Because they do have the One Ring and Chalice of the Void. And they also have relevant triggers. But at the cost of what? Maybe like Daze gets worse on the draw and so does Thoughtseize. Am I supposed to be thinking about removal spells here? Probably not. I have very little faith in Tamiyo in this matchup. I would love to hear what some of the more grizzled veteran tempo players think about that. Alright, I'm gonna submit here. Oh, so close, but not good enough. And the opponent keeps 7. Yikes. Yeah, I'll keep this and hope to not get turn 1 Blood Moon. I'll get rid of a Wasteland. I don't think this deck keeps 7 without a turn 1 play of sorts, so I do worry that there's a Blood Moon in my immediate future, and it does look like that. Trinisphere, okay. Okay, well, so here is what I'm going to do. I'm going to cast this Wasteland, or play this Wasteland and waste their Ancient Tomb, and hope that they don't have another Soul Land in hand, which they, of course, did. Why wouldn't they? Alright. We've lost, but I am going to keep playing. Alright, pass. Yeah, if I hadn't done that, I would at least be ready to cast Doomsday on this coming turn. Now they have 4 mana, so they can cast the One Ring if they should choose to do so. Another Fable, okay. I think I have to not Surveil here and get the basic basic swamp going. Holy cannoli. At least the Trinisphere is limiting them to one spell per, currently, one spell per turn. Okay, so let's see here. I take 4, I go to 14. If I were to Doomsday, I would go to 7. Oh no, wait, I'll be at 12 from these 2 fetch lands. Oh, and they have treasures, I forget about those as well, so they can cast more than one spell. Hieroglyph, okay. That currently only pings me for 2. I think I have to try and hit Barrowglyph here. Like resolve Barrowglyph. There's a land. Problem is that Barrowglyph is just not very big. So let's see here. Well, first of all, they can shoot Barrowglyph for 4 damage. So does that even matter? No, I think I'm cooked here. I can make Barrowglyph a 3/4 by casting Dark Rituals or recycling the mana. Yeah, no, I'm dead. Yeah, GG's opponent. Alright, yet again on the draw here in round 2. And our opponent has results with Izzet Delver, so I like this hand a lot more on the play, but I think that's just probably always true versus Delver. But I am going to keep. Oh, but it would appear that this is not that this isn't Izzet Delver at all. Okay. I think I probably Wasteland here, honestly. Like, if they have multiples, like double of one of the lands here, it's likely that they played that one out. So, like, if they have 2 Planar Nexus and 1 Urza's Tower, they would play out the Planar Nexus first. But Planar Nexus is just the land that sort of ties the room together for that deck. And they just have a second one. Never didn't have it. Okay, so we have to expect a 4-drop here next turn. I'm going to Ponder, and Ponder is going to be looking for Force of Will and or Dark Ritual. We find we find Dark Ritual, and we find second Wasteland. Huh. Do I think a Wasteland is worth more than the Polluted Delta? Like, if by some miracle they just go land, like non-Urza's, like let's say they go Cloud Post? No, but then they would have played the Cloud Post first. Yeah. If they don't have Urza's Tower, basically, then I like the Wasteland a lot. I think I'm going to draw the Dark Ritual now and then put Wasteland on top. Like, we have redundant non-Wasteland lands in our hand, even though the Sewers is a little bit awkward here. But even the Sewers can, surveil away a card from the Doomsday pile. Glimmer Post. Okay. And now they're passing. We have to recognize that this could be the blue Cloud Post deck, and so they could have a Force of Will in our future here. But yeah, and if it is that, then like Dark Ritual Doomsday is gonna suck, or at least it's gonna get countered. But I think I still do. I make Dark Ritual Doomsday here. Like, if they have Disruptor Flute, then I'm pretty cooked right now if they Disruptor Flute. I guess Warping Whale is something I'm just playing right into right now. I have seen that card pop up. Force of Negation, okay. Well, in that case, I'm going to Wasteland them. And then I'm going to play Murktide Regent as a 5/5 next turn. And we'll see where that takes us. So this is the blue Karnforge deck. Okay. Looks like a Chalice for 1 here. That's okay. I mean, it turns off Tamiyo for now, but that's not what we're doing. And I think I'm just going to play basic Island here and try and make a 5/5. And that's in. Okay. These Glimmer Posts have sort of jumped their life total somewhat. So they have 3 mana now, but no play. That's good. They have no colored mana either. Do I Thoughtseize here? I think I do. Want to see what's up. Oh, fuck! They have a Chalice. Okay, well, that just happened. Good times were had by all. Oh, man. Hey, this is just between us, right? That, don't tell anyone that just happened. Okay, now they have 4 mana, and they get Karn. So we can bounce Karn if we want to. They reveal an artifact. Okay, what do you reveal? Ensnaring Bridge. Okay. So I am not going to bounce Karn here. I'm going to just kill Karn. Then we can bounce the Ensnaring Bridge when and if we see fit. LED can go away. I think I just... Alright, let's start with attacking the Karn. So Karn dies. And let's surveil here. Oh, I'm all over the place here. I clicked through my my end step. That wasn't supposed to happen. Or clicked through my second main phase. Okay, there's a Cloud Post, so now they are like looking like a lot of mana. So this enters. I don't think I bounce it yet because that only really puts things off for a turn here. Oh, come on, all these lands. Look, that was a land I didn't have to draw if I had just played my Surveil land last turn. Force of Will. I think I like Force of Will. Basically, it's this turn here. If I can stop them, if they don't resolve something catastrophic this turn, then I can draw my Force of Will, bounce the bridge, and then force it on the way back. But it looks like they are doing something big here. Ugin. Yeah, and that's just game, right? I can't possibly beat this. Alright, GG's. Okay, let's bring in the Consign of Memories. And Force of Negation, probably. Not sure about Orcish Bowmasters. I think it's almost always like a lost cause to try and beat the One Ring with Orcish Bowmasters. Obviously it has relevant text there, but yeah, I don't know. Maybe Sheoldred's Edict is an interesting card, but what are we boarding out here? On the play, I like Tamiyo fine. I think I'm going to board out the Brazen Borrowers and just hope to counter stuff rather than having to bounce it. Probably we don't want LED. Consider I'm okay keeping... I think I board out the Orcish Bowmasters. I'm boarding in 5 cards. So what's the last cut here? I think it's a Barrowgoyf. That does mean we're really not doing a lot with creatures, but versus the like spawn tokens. I don't know. I kind of almost instantly regret not having more creatures here. We'll see. But I do really, I kind of feel like I want an early Doomsday. And I do get it. Doomsday with Days backup. Meanwhile, they mulligan to 6. And here, so the thing about this deck that we're up against is that they are playing Tishana's Tidebinder, and that's their sort of ace in the hole versus Doomsday. Like, the Disruptor Flute, obviously also great versus us, but the Tishana's Tidebinder, we can consign to memory that trigger. So I do think that's probably going to be our plan. They mulligan to 6. So let's go ahead and do the thing. Hope they don't have double force. There's a long pause here. If they don't force, then I think they both have a force and a Tishana's Sidebinder or a Disruptor Flute, and that's what they're sort of banking on. They do force, though. What's being pitched? Thunder Trap Trainer. I'm going to daze your Force of Will. Force is dazed. And it resolved. Alright, I guess Cavern of Souls. Obviously Thassa. And then we need some mana. We have ways to draw through the deck, so that's not really the thing. I guess a Force of Will would maybe also do it versus the Tidebinder. Force plus Daze seems very appealing. Okay, so we draw the Force, and then we draw Misty Rainforest, and then we can cycle like Edge into the Thassa and play her and have Force plus Daze, or we can wait a turn and then also get the cavern, depending on how things go. Yeah, I'm going to try this. I am a little bit concerned about having to pass multiple times here, but sometimes that's just the way the cookie ends up crumbling. Pass. So I think this deck, I don't know if it plays Keys and Grim Monolith, but I think it's like less hypercharged for the early turns. Yeah, what's this? Oh, is this the Demonic Tutor card kind of thing? I wish there was a way to see that here. Oh, there it is. Waterlock Teachings, yeah. Oh, I didn't know they were playing that. This just makes 1 mana. Very happy about that. I'll pass. And I got the basic island in the pile in case something weird happens where they like, I don't know, wasteland the underground scene and surgical it or whatever, extirpate to get under the force here. And I am gonna wait 1 more turn, and then that will give me an empty deck and the Cavern of Souls. Now they have 4 mana. So now Daze is probably not doing a lot here. So what could happen here? They could Hull Breacher us. If they do that, then I think we just have to accept that. So I'm going to cycle Edge of Autumn here to draw the Cavern of Souls. Okay, so we were allowed to draw the Cavern. And here is the Merfolk. And I'm not going to fetch yet, because if they have... If Kozilek's Command is their plan, then having the fetch land here kind of insulates against that. They can make us draw a card. If they do that, then we draw a card, and we don't lose. And if they decide to kill Thassa, then that's also fine. They have double removal plus counterspell. That's kind of bad here. Here comes a spell. No, if it's Tishana, they have to wait, and it is Tishana, I think. Here is the Thassa. It could still be the Kozilek's Command. So yeah, Tishana plus Force here, and they have us. Here is Force of Will. So that was countered. Okay, sweet. So we take game 2. Now I wonder if I'm supposed to do the full-blown creature pivot and not be on Doomsday at all. What would that look like? That looks like these 12 cards coming in, and then so I have 12 cards I want to bring in and only 8 that I want to take out right now, but I think like we can board out some, if not all, of the Dark Rituals. They are a Chalice for 1 deck, and Dark Ritual only has Dooms or a Beowulf to synergize with now. And then I think maybe we can take out a Daze on the draw here. I kind of like Thoughtseize, even though in spite of the aforementioned Chalice. All right, I think I'm going to board out all but 1 Dark Ritual. And maybe if I'm doing that, I'm supposed to board out all the Dark Rituals and then keep in the Daze. Just it's a blue card. We're up to 6 forces here, and they are like a big mana deck. That means they make big mana, but it also means that they have like greedy plays. Flusterstorm, I just noticed now, is a card I'm bringing in. How do I feel about that? I think it's probably useful enough for like Kozilek's commands and potential removal spells, potential counter war supremacy. Okay. This hand absolutely crumbles to a Chalice of the Void. But can I really justify like mulliganing into a hand that doesn't? I think I'm going to keep this. The opponent mulligans to 6. They found 6 they like. Okay. Looks like we're getting spared for the Chalice on turn 1. How do I feel about this? I think I'm going to Thoughtseize and then potentially play Tamiyo off of the Lotus Petal. Lorien Revealed and Thunder Trap Trainer and nothing else. Okay, I'll take the Trainer. And I think I will try and push this advantage. I can flip Tamiyo next turn. Alright, so they do have 3 mana next turn if they play the Nexus here. So they do have like the potential to rip something here. Okay. Looks like they're just investing in the future here. I would love to find a Wasteland. Maybe not another one of these. Alright, here's Tamiyo. She attacks. Okay. The attack is in. I'm going to cast Brainstorm in the second main. I do find a Wasteland, so that's really good. Let's put back, I guess it's a Long Goodbye and then the Undercity Sewers, and then I play Undercity Sewers next turn, milling over the second Long Goodbye. I mean, we're not really stopping them from ramping mana. They will have they will have 3 mana next turn if they play the Planar Nexus, but this does slow them down a bit, and I think it's pretty relevant. So let's plus the Tamiyo and pass. There's Planar Nexus. Did you find a 3-drop? Looks like they did. Is this Chalice for 1? Yeah. It's not currently something that impacts us here. So their hand is Underground Sea Lure and Revealed and 1 unknown. Plus the Tamiyo. And it's between now playing a land that enters untapped and like drawing off this clue, or putting that off for 1 turn and getting rid of the second long walk. I was going to say Long Goodbye, and I'm going to do that. And we pass. And like if they have something like Disruptor Flute or something, that sucks obviously, because then we didn't really get that much out of this Tamiyo. But okay. Now they have 4 mana. That's kind of the important thing that they can have. Like that's where they start casting their important spells. And here is a spell. Kozilek's Command for 2. They make 2 friends and they surveil, is it? Or scry? Yeah, they scry. 2 to the top. Well, that's slightly frightening. And next turn they will have 6 mana. So maybe Ugin. Yeah, Ugin. Ugin requires 1 more, right? Is there any, crazy as it might be, world where I kill one of their creatures? Or even both of their creatures? Oh, I can't kill both. I'm a mana short of that. So it's between like drawing a card here or killing one. Honestly, I'm going to kill one of these guys. And we pass. They have 5 mana, like Planar Nexus makes it 6. No, it makes it 7. Like any one of their lands here probably, or might be good enough, but hey, I don't know. It was if it's not Ugin, like if what they have is Karn or Ring or something, then I guess it doesn't matter that much. Okay, well, they're paying costs. I mean, they don't know what I have, but they should know right now if they are going to lose, right? Like, if they have nothing, then I'm going to draw half my deck next turn. So I'm assuming they have something here, because they're not conceding. Here's some blue mana. Is this Hull Breacher? Oh, it's Sink into Stupor. Yikes. Okay, well, that probably won them the game. Damn. Yeah. We can Force of Will now. Like, it's not over or anything, but that was it's not good. All right, I'm gonna draw a card here and surveil. I would love a creature like Barrowboy, Murktide. One of those things would be amazing. Do I think Wasteland is going to do more here? Yeah, okay. I mean, this did kind of lose me game 1. You know, trying to Wasteland them out of the game. But they cycled Lorien Revealed and played the land, which I think tells me they don't have another big mana land. And if I kill their Planar Nexus, they have 3 mana. Okay, I'm going to do it. I'm going to hope for a Force of Will to tie me over here. If they resolve something like Karn, I'm just going to let it happen because I have the Sheoldred's Edict. Thundertrap Trainer. Yeah, okay. That'll have to be okay. Okay, non-creature, non-land. So that means they can't reveal a land, which is good. I think if they don't resolve anything else this turn, and I get to wasteland them, then if I can find a creature in the next couple of turns, like one of my threats, then this game might be winnable. But if they're able to somehow, like if they've just been sandbagging a land, if they go like land stock up or something, and I have to maybe force that, then I don't have a force for this next thing. And here's Karn, and if we're lucky, Karn won't, you know, enter play. I'm gonna take the planar nexus here. Oh, they have Tishana. Is that it? Yeah, they have Tishana's Tidebinder. Okay, so I will force that because that not only completely mucks up my plan here, but it's also like it significantly increases the clock. And let's see here. If they top deck a land, then we still have the Edict for Karn. Second Chalice. Yeah, that's fine. It's not fine. I'm not thrilled, but I'm gonna play Cavern here because I want to hardcast Force of Wills, but I'm not sure what I name here. It's either Lurgoyf or Murktide, and seeing as we were playing 3 or 4 Beargoyfs, I guess it has to be Lurgoyf. That's just what the math dictates, and we pass. They started tapping mana, and then they untapped and are moving into combat, and they just pass. Hey, look at that. Just how we drew it up. So our 6/7 Beargoyf is in here. Now my best draw is just, I think, blue cards or the third Wasteland. Third Wastelands, just put them in the dirt here, or blue cards so that I can both, like I can double force basically. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and guess that this otter here is going to make a valiant sacrifice. It gets gobbled up by the Beargoyf, and we pass. Stock up. I'm going to have to go ahead and say no to that. Alright, we still have force. Some more interaction would be great. I'll take days, especially in this, for our country so desperate times of no mana. Here comes the big mill 6. Can we find another Beargoyf? Or Murktide? Yeah, Murktide. Murktide is a work tide. Oops. Alright, let's get rid of Force of Will so that they can't extirpate it. You know, the old... I keep playing around extirpate, huh? And put you to lethal. Alright, sweet. That was a scary matchup. Glad to pull out the win, and we're 1-1. All right, on the play for round number 3, and we're up against an opponent whose last finishes were with Dimir Reanimator pre-ban. I think I'm supposed to go for it here. If they have the force, then we've traded 2 for 2, and then next turn I can go for a Tamiyo, and then build up to Murktide. We don't know what the opponent is on, though, so there is that. Yeah, looking at those finishes from the opponent, they were like back in September and August, so no records since then. So who knows what they're on? They mulligan to 6. That just resolved. Okay, so I am going to build as though this is a blue deck, which means I'm not going to build a pile that tries to beat stuff like Blood Moon or stuff like Endurance. All right, here we go. So this pile passes now and then passes once more and then wins through Cavern. Or we just pass now. I'm going to put Thassa above Cavern of Souls, meaning that if the opponent goes, I don't know, what might they do? If they go like Ancient Tomb Chalice for 1, or Ancient Tomb imprint something Fable of the Mirror Breaker, then there's no need to wait for the Cavern or to get to 0 cards. but this pile can. All right, so snow-covered island on the very bottom, but then cavern and then Thassa. And then yeah, there is a theoretical risk that if they have like Thoughtseize or something, then we are in trouble or could be in trouble. I think I like this hedge here. If this was a league match, I would be tempted to not play my Tamiyo next turn because I would expect that there was at least some chance the opponent didn't care enough to actually go through my exile zone. But if they're going through exile zone, which because this is a challenge, I would expect them to, then they will, like the jig is going to be up anyways. They aren't going to just assume that I'm on Turbo Doomsday. All right, they just concede rather than give me any info. I can dig it. So we're in this position where they are going to have to board as though we're Doomsday. And while there are certainly matchups where I would rather have Doomsday post board, there were quite a few of those. The fact that this deck can operate pretty much completely as a like tempo Dimir deck, I think it is quite appealing to board into that. So I'm gonna board into that, and I'm gonna board out of Doomsday, and then we can always bring back Doomsday for round number or for game number 3. So the only question is, do I want stuff like Force of Negation and Flusterstorm? I'll put those here. So we get rid of the Doomsday stuff, the most sort of outwardly Doomsday stuff. I think, all things being equal, I think that the most played deck is it Delver or is it Cutter? And I don't particularly like Force of Negation there, but I also don't completely hate it because that matchup is often about like resolving and keeping alive a Barrowgoyf, and we could get into a point where they try to do stuff on their turn, like Unholy Heater or whatever. But okay, I'm gonna have to be a bit quicker here. Board out the Thassa and the LED. And I think I board out 2 Dark Rituals. But where I was going with that was that I don't, though, feel like boarding into Consign to Memory. While that card is great and versus a lot more than just the colorless Ancient Tomb decks, I think it is narrow enough that it's not advisable in the dark. Yeah. Again, we have no clue what we're up against. If they're like on Oops All Spells, I am going to keep this hand and feel pretty silly, but hey, it is what it is. But I wouldn't expect Oops All Spells to play the way that the opponent, or like to concede there. They had 6 cards. I was passing the turn. They were going to draw their 7th card. Yeah, I guess I am mostly worried about, I don't know. I was going to say Blood Moon here, but I do have the basic Swamp and can play off of that. All right, they keep 7 this time. Volcanic Island. Okay, so maybe it is. Is it? It is. Is it? I'm sorry. That was terrible. Okay, now everything is going to hinge upon me finding basic island, I think, basically, and just more lands. Cavern of Souls here, also a banger. Hey, would you look at that? Okay, so I am going to draw Force of Will and then basic island and pass. Do they flip? They do, revealing Ponder. Okay, at least not like Lightning Bolt or Unholy Heat. But now the race is on. I almost feel like casting Shouldered Edict on their next upkeep here if I don't get Wastelanded, just because it might draw out. Ooh, they shuffle. Oh man, I wish I had a Wasteland. They're stuck on lands here. But it might draw out a Daze. And that actually means I could play it now. And then if they Daze, then my Daze is live. But I think so here's what I want to do. I want to cast this on my turn. And if they Daze, I don't Daze back. What that means is I basically cut them off a mana. So if I wait until their upkeep and then I Shoulder Edict, they tap and Daze, and then they can brainstorm, for instance. And even if they don't find a land, they still have their land drop. So that means that this volcanic island would make 2 mana on their next turn. And if I do it like this and they dazed, it only makes 1. Sacrifice each opponent sacrifices a non-token creature of their choice. This is a little bit risky because this is sort of our out to a Murktide. But the way things are shaping up right now, I still think it's a long pause from the opponent. So I think it's pretty clear they have something. I think if it was daze, it would be very easy for them to daze here. So I'm wondering if it's like Force of Negation, and they're thinking, man, am I really gonna like blow a force here? Okay, it was just daze. All right, so that's dazed. We really have to hope they don't top deck a wasteland here, and they didn't. Okay. I mean, I think my best draw right now is maybe a fetch land, because right now Barrowwave is in bolt range, which is pretty awkward. But I do have double daze Force of Will against their 1 land. Oh yeah, we knew that was coming. I don't think I Thoughtseize here. I think my life total is too precious, and I also, that also speaks to having to resolve Barrowwave right now and not wait a turn. Another daze here would be slightly annoying. Like, I want this to cost them 2 cards. It does look like they do have a second daze. Okay, so I'll force pitching Brazen Bee. Then they can Pyroblast, and then I can daze. Hopefully. Hopefully that's what's sort of happening right now. Yeah. Okay, so Pyroblast targets my force. I guess I will daze their daze. Now they need double force to stop this from happening. But then if they do just have the lightning bolt, brainstorm. Okay, pitched. They did have a second force. I'm gonna daze here. Okay. It looks like Barrowwave is about to enter play as a measly 2/3, and if they have the lightning bolt, so help me, I'm gonna be so sad. Like, how crazy is this? Turn 4? Oh, but now if they bolt, they play the fetch land. Okay, so never mind. They're attacking. Love that for me. They aren't anywhere close to Delirium here. Brainstorm is good. So I think I will Thoughtseize. Love to take away a creature or something, or a cutter, and their hand is hand is Wasteland Bulk. We gain some precious life, and we hit a Bowmasters. Hey, that is not bad. Is there a world where I brainstorm right now? No, I don't think so. Yeah, they have to get Thundering Falls here. Like a Murktide here would be, like, could definitely turn the game around. They surveil away a wasteland. There's the Volk. Oh shoot. Okay, no, it's just DRC. Ooh, oh. I thought for a sec it was flipped. Or it wasn't Delirious, but now they have Delirium. And they are trying to race us here. Love a Force of Will. I think I will cast Brainstorm here. So what's the score here? These are all great, by the way. I'm gonna put back Dark Ritual and I guess, or is it? Is it actually Brazen Borrower and Murktide? No, I want to keep one of those. I want to keep the Murktide in my hand. I'll put back Underground Sea and Brazen. And like, if they don't block, I get to just put the Brazen Borrower into my hand. We know their hand, it's a wasteland. No, shit! No, 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 I clicked through combat. Okay. Terrible. Terrible, terrible, terrible. Now they just need, like, to find any lightning bolt, and that's game. Holy cannoli. I feel like shit. Now I think I have to draw the Brazen Borrower, even if I even have a chance here. Oh, can you believe it? I go to 2. I would be at 6 right now. And now they can even shrink my my friend here, because they were casting a Murktide. That's what they drew, so they can get rid of the Quarry Steel Cutter. They Wasteland. Okay, because they don't want, I guess they don't want to take that because they don't want to lose Delirium. 6/6 Murktide. But now they did lose Delirium. Okay, so it's not over. Far from it, actually, I think. Okay, I can draw the Brazen Borrower. I think that's probably a good idea no matter what. And then I can attack here, and they either trade, in which case I gain 4, I go to 6. Then they're delirious again. Maybe that's their plan, but then I cast Murktide of my own. I could also just bounce the Murktide right now. So if I bounce the Murktide, then they just have to Wasteland to get delirious. Yeah, okay. That's a bit of a problem. I think if they just played cleverly here, they have me. They just don't. They just don't block here. Then no matter what, I'm taking 6 next turn. Unless I find what, like Tamiyo maybe off of this Barrowwolf trigger. Then Tamiyo can like live for 1 turn to block, and then I bounce something else. Okay, well, I am gonna attack. There's no, this Barrowwolf isn't doing anything on the ground here. Imagine if I had actually attacked on that turn where I click through like a doofus, doofily-oofus. Okay, they're not blocking. That makes sense. And let's go. Hit Tamiyo. Oh, wow. That's so close. Yeah, they have me. I can either make a big Murktide and then, or I can bounce Murktide. I can also make the Orcish Bowmasters, but they just have to activate their Wasteland, at which point the DRC is a 3/3. I guess we can always give them the opportunity to forget to do that. All right, so I'm gonna take the Barrowwolf here and pretend like I don't already have a Murktide, and I am going to Dark Ritual. I'm gonna cast Bowmasters. All right, and now is when you forget you have Wasteland. All right, GG's. Okay, I completely threw that away. I mean, obviously it's not a absolute guarantee I would have won this if I had been on 10 instead of 6 here, but I do feel like it is pretty close. I would have bounced the Murktide, take 6, go down to 4, and then have like Murktide plus Barrowwolf. Yep. Oh well. We are already boarded how we want to. I think the only thing is I'm going to bring back the 2 additional Dark Rituals and get rid of the 2 Force of Negations. And then I am going to be all about the old Barrowwolf lifestyle here. Alright, this is acceptable. We get our basics under us. We have 2 threats. They mulling into 6. You love to see it. Tamiyo I don't think is that impressive in this matchup. But she is obviously a threat they have to answer, but they have a lot of answers in Pyroblast and Lightning Bolt. And like plussing her and just trying to ride that plus, I think is very risky because of Pyroblast. And also just they are able to gum up the ground pretty well. And even though she protects herself somewhat, it's not like, yeah, I don't know. You know what I mean, I think. All right. Snow-covered island, Tamiyo. How about it? Okay, Tamiyo is in after about 40 seconds of deliberation from the opponent. Well, at least they cannot both play a threat on turn 1 and kill Tamiyo on turn 1, so that is good. And they're passing the turn, it seems. Okay, that's really interesting. Like, if they had Pyroblast, they would probably use it on their turn. Okay, Flusterstorm I like here. So let's attack with Tamiyo, and we just pass. Here comes the end of turn fetch. DRC. Okay. Is this where we... This is where we Dark Ritual and cast Orcish Bowmasters, my friends. This gives the minimal chance to gain anything from this DRC, like in terms of surveils. And we have Flusterstorm to back this up. If they daze right now, that's, I think, a pretty tight play. And yeah, that kind of sucks to 2-for-1 yourself to remove a creature. But on the other hand, like this, I'm going to let them surveil. This DRC is worth more, I think. So if they Like, I can fluster this force. That gives them 3 card types. If they have another instant and they can surveil either a creature or a sorcery, then that's not great. But I am going to fluster here because I want my Bowmasters in play. Okay, so lots of copies of Flusterstorm. So the Force of Will is never resolving here, but it will be interesting to see if they have like a force of their own for this Bowmasters. And if not, then, you know, what happens when their fetch land resolves? Will they lightning bolt one of my creatures? They daze. All right, so they're hoping to get the delirium here, so I can pay for the daze. They kept a card on top. Okay, but they're going to shuffle in a sec. Interesting. Yeah, so I'll just pay. Okay, Bowmasters is in. DRC dies. Now they shuffle away the card they just kept on top. But they do get to have like a mana now. And they have 2 cards we don't know, and then Volcanic Island. No, Thundering Falls, rather. This probably kills one of my creatures. No, they're passing. Interesting. So I will attack here. Get another clue, and I'll pass. Murktide here is obviously a concern, but we can at least, you know, put up a fight here. And we know that one land they have is Thundering Falls, and if that's the only land they have, that doesn't cast Murktide here. It's a wasteland. It's this Cutter, huh? So they have a Bauble, would be my guess. So let's cast Brainstorm here, see if we can find a Daze or something. Okay, we don't. Do find another Bowmasters. Okay, let's put back Undercity Sewers and the Ponder, I think. And then Tamiyo flips, which is a bit awkward because they're gonna... Oh, never mind, they just concede. Oh, wow. That was unexpected. I was sure they had a bauble here, but obviously if they don't, then yeah, they're like just a million miles behind. Okay, interesting. All right, cool. Really, 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 really pleased that my not attacking on my attack step didn't end up costing me the match. Wow, okay, 2-1, nice. Let's go for yeah, the 4th round whenever that is ready. All right, so this is round 4, and I'm on the draw here against an opponent whose only recent Legacy list was a Beanstalk deck, a Yorion Beanstalk. But they're not playing Yorion today. I'm on the draw here with 5 lands, Tamiyo and Dark Ritual. I think I have to mulligan this. Okay. I suppose I'll keep this and maybe I get rid of Daze, because that currently doesn't work. This hand does like go turn 1 Tamiyo Bowmasters, which is a little bit silly. Alright, opponent kept 7, and here we go. Okay, it's a basic island gamer and turn 1 Ponder. This could be... yeah, it could be a number of things. They shuffle though. Force of Will. Maybe that means we hold off on Tamiyo, because now this Tamiyo is blue mana. Alright, I'm gonna float this pedal here, because I want, if they go ahead and Brainstorm next turn, I want to be able to go Dark Ritual Bowmasters. And I don't want to get dazed. Like, they could daze the Dark Ritual if I didn't play out this. There we go. Could be an early big moment here in this match. Let's see. Bowmasters is in. Okay. Did cost me my ritual, but now I have a 4/4 and a 1/1 that taxes each of their future non-draw step draws. We got to keep the Force of Will, so pretty happy with that. And like, if they go Plains Plow Bowmasters, that's obviously, that's sad, but then, you know, we still have the 4/4. Okay. They didn't plow. Okay. I almost feel like not playing out this Wasteland. Just... oh, maybe hang on. If they have Dried Arbor randomly in this deck, but what deck plays Basic Island and Misty Rainforest and Dried Arbor? But yeah, I was supposed to play out the Wasteland first. I almost feel like not playing out the Wasteland because I really want them to like fetch a non-basic here, but I don't know that that would be correct. I think I might rue to regret that. Could also be I should have played Tamiyo there actually, yeah. Second Basic Island, okay. So this is either Show and Tell or a control deck of some sort. Ponder, yeah. Okay, I'm thinking, I think this is show and tell. I think this, okay. And they concede, wow. Bowmaster doing the Lord's work. Okay, so we saw double plane, double island and misty rainforest and some cantrips. It smells like combo. It could be control. Let's bring in the second bowmasters in the flusterstorm. Um, and they don't know what we're doing. They've seen Dark Ritual, Lotus Petal, and bowmasters. So they and Wasteland. Hang on, they probably unless they're looking me up, and they could be. Of course, I'm doing that to them, but they could think that I am a like a mono black stompy deck with like opposition agents and Shieldrits and stuff. I think Force of Negations are good here. If it is a control deck or like Cephalid Breakfast or something, then I really like Long Goodbye in that matchup. And obviously, if it's like especially versus Breakfast, I think versus Control, Long Goodbye is also pretty good because they could play Lavinia, stuff like that, but also just uncounterably kill Narset or Teferi. Versus Breakfast, it's just so brutal because they basically need two Cephalid Illusionists to beat this card, or a chant effect, I guess. Huh. But we don't know that they're playing anything like that, so I think these are the four cards I'm comfortable bringing in. And I probably am not going to go for a like same turn crack LED Doomsday win here. Boarding out Consider is a little bit iffy. I think I can board out the Brazen Borrowers. Okay, and I need to board out one more thing. Maybe it's a Daze on the draw. We are boarding into counter spells here. It could be that I should be boarding out the Barrel Voice, actually. Yeah, I have that in my head, and then I just forgot about it. Yeah. Be it against Control or against like Show and Tell, I don't think Barrel Voice is very good. It's not terrible, but by the way, we are 72 players. I meant to get back to that during the first round, but yeah, 72 players. That's pretty cool. I think it means 7 rounds. So, okay, this is neat. I'm gonna keep. Yeah, 7 rounds. It means that 6 and 1 is, I think, just a slam dunk for top 8. 5 and 2, there were probably some 5 and 2s that get into top 8. But probably not all 5 and 2s, but I could be wrong. I've never been very knowledgeable about those things. I've never really gotten into them. Okay, they don't shuffle. This could be like High Tide. Do I go for it here? What are the odds that they aren't sitting on a counterspell after having witnessed Dark Rituals in game 1? Okay, I'm going to cycle the Street Wraith. Like, if I can find a Daze or a Force of Will. I did just board out a Daze. That point is not lost on me. Okay, I think I will actually cast the Ponder here and look for a counterspell. You know what? I think I actually like drawing Dark Ritual here, because then we can go like Dark Ritual, Doomsday. If they counter it, we can go Dark Ritual, Doomsday again. Obviously, if they end up winning, then it's pretty bad, but then we're drawing Tamiyo, and then we're drawing Tamiyo now, but then we're drawing Brainstorm after that. Tell you what, I am actually going to develop one more turn here, and if they just go like turn 3, like Show and Tell, then I'm going to be sad, but Plains. Okay, so it's probably not Show and Tell. Is this Philia? It's the Blink deck. Okay. Yeah. Alright. So, will they find something to blink out? They shuffle. I like that. Okay, I go to 16. Philia currently not being too insane here, but green mana. Is this, oh, Meddling Mage. That could be a problem. They probably know to name Doomsday now. Yeah, wow. Okay. We got, folks. I don't have any removal here, so now it's not looking so easy. So I could play Tamiyo, and then it's a question of, do I Ponder here and try and sort? Yeah, I think maybe I do. I still have the Barrow Voice here. I made my land drop. I think I'm going to shuffle these. Okay, and I'll pass. And they could, well, just have a plow here for this. Meddling Mage. That is not something I've seen in a hot minute. Okay. Up the beanstalk. They probably just blink out. Oh, they blink out the beans. Yeah, that makes sense. Oh, there I go again. Clicking through goddamn combat. I'm just not on it today. Yeah, I was definitely supposed to block there and be at 14. Alright, I'm gonna attack with Tamiyo. Click very carefully here. And attack. Okay, we get our clue. And then I think I cast Thoughtseize here. And then I brainstorm post Thoughtseize. That's my plan. I really want to, like, if they have one Force of Will, then this Thoughtseize is pretty great. If they do have Force... I'm supposed to brainstorm there with the draw trigger on the stack. Okay, well, let's see if they draw another one. Let's get rid of the Doomsdays, huh? Tamiyo flips. Let's plus Tamiyo. I do kind of want to shuffle, but then at the same time, I do kind of want to wasteland them here. So I think I am going to wasteland them. Also because if I can snipe their Meddling Mage with this Bowmasters, then I'm all about that. Alright, yeah, they probably blink out my Tamiyo. That way they can just keep her on 2 forever, but... Alright, so Tamiyo -1/-0 triggers happen. Philia blinks out Tamiyo. And then I try heroically for this Bowmasters. Unfortunately, like a plow messes this up. But they add the Force anyways. Alright, I'm gonna go ahead and concede here. So do we want to be all in on Doomsday or not all in on Doomsday? Do we want Doomsday in the deck, or do we want to try and beat them on the ground? I think I actually like not being Doomsday here for game number 3 and having mucho removal. And I think I board out the Force of Negations, although that could be a mistake. Like Force of Negation on up the beanstalk seems somewhat appealing. Yeah, maybe I board in the 2 Force of Negations and then board out 2 Dark Rituals, or rather all 4 Dark Rituals. I just think Dark Ritual is something that is pretty quickly going to lose its luster without the Doomsdays. Dark Ritual out of Barrowgoyf is pretty nice though, but... Alright, let's try this. And let's hope that if they have Meddling Mage, they continue to name Doomsday. Oh, no lands. It's a mulligan. Yeah, this is fine. I guess I will bottom a land here. I think do I want to ponder here, or am I... No, I think I'm just going to surveil, actually. If I can surveil into either Bowmasters or Tamiyo, then that's pretty interesting, as that lets me keep Flusterstorm and Force. They have no turn 1 play. Brazen Borrower. I think we get rid of that. Another Barrowgoyf, huh? Alright, I will ponder here. A blue card and a 3rd land would be pretty great. 3rd land and 3rd Barrowgoyf is actually also pretty interesting. Alright, let's start jamming Goyfs next turn. They could put a card on top of their deck. Oh, holy shit! Oh my god, this whole thing just went crazy. Thankfully, I managed to stop it here. I was just trying to not have a stop on end of combat, and suddenly I clicked through my my first main phase. Alright, here's a fetch. Let's see what they think about Barrowgoyf numero uno. Well, that's in. Might have plow here. If they have plow, I think we just have to let that go. We have more where they came from. I think it's probably important to save this Force for a... Oh, it's Philia. Okay. I mean, Philia blinks Barrowgoyf, so Barrowgoyf doesn't block, but Barrowgoyf comes back and then gets to attack. But yeah, I was going to say, like, to save it from a Bowmasters. For Up the Beanstalk, I mean. And here it is. If they have Veil of Summer, that's tragic, but I am going to force this. They have Force back, but then that's a Force that they don't have, you know, next turn. Do they also have Plow? Wow. Strong. Now they get to blink the Beanstalk, and yeah, that's really, really good. If they have another Force of Will, I think that's game. And they do. Oh my god. Oh no. Yeah, Philia plus this Beanstalk is just crazy. That's just like draw 2 every turn, and it pumps the Philia. Yeah, that's really good. Well, I don't know how we're supposed to win this one, but I am gonna give it the old college try here. Quantum Riddler, then that gets blinked. Well, Baragoyf, last man standing. It's all up to you. Yep, you blink your Riddler. All right, it all happened. They all drew cards for the opponent, and now I'm back with my Baragoyf. I was going to say Force of Will would have been a good draw here, but Daze might be fine if they don't have a third Force of Will. Like if they have Plow here, then we get to Daze that. They just need to not try and Plow at the end of my turn, though. Yeah, Leyline Binding. All right, I'm going to concede. No way back. GG's opponent. All right, so we're on the play for round number 5. I think like my sort of table napkin math says that 5 and 2 can theoretically top 8. So I'm at least going to keep playing until I take the third loss. I think even if 5 and 2 doesn't top 8, it will top 16 most likely. So yeah, that's worth it. The opponent has some old spread out results. One of them being Ocelot Pride, but some months ago. I'm just going to play like I don't know what this opponent is playing. I will keep this hand. It is, well, vulnerable to a Wasteland. A little sick of mulliganing, and I do get to Surveil here, so hopefully there's a land in the top 2 cards of the deck. And look at that, we found a land. Okay. Okay, so this is Pox. Yeah, they can force, they can Thoughtseize here. So some logic would dictate taking the Baragoyf as that's the only one of its kind in my hand, or the Force of Will, I suppose. But I guess, okay, they take Ponder. Yeah, Baragoyf kind of embarrassing versus Eumidian Hatchery. They just like basically fog us for forever. They have perfect information, but you know, I still think it's probably fine playing that Underground Sea and holding off with the Brainstorm. Lava Spur Boots, okay. That's not a here and now problem. It could be a problem eventually. Okay, this land lets me cast Teeny Weeny 2/3 Baragoyf. I think we're just at this point so committed to non-basics that that's not really a plan for us. Okay, Baragoyf backed up by Force and Daze here. Are we able to do something? I don't have high hopes. Like Thoughtseize, land drop, Smallpox. I guess then we can Daze the Smallpox. So that's not a line. I really don't want to see Ursa's Saga here. Another Hatchery, okay. Smallpox. Well, I mean, this is obviously getting countered. And we have a 3/4 Goyf. But I don't feel safe. Oh, Force of Will. That's pretty nice. So let me attack here. And I think, although it is a little bit risky, I am going to Brainstorm. Well, I'm going to let Baragoyf connect. And then I'm going to Brainstorm because that gives me a quote-unquote shuffle here. If I hit a creature, it's just awesome. And that was pretty good. Okay, let's get rid of Edge of Autumn and Baragoyf. I will bring back the Baragoyf. And tempting though it may be to wasteland them here, I think I'm more interested in having 2 Baragoyfs. We again, well, not again, now we lose. Now it's bad if they go Thoughtseize into another Smallpox. Okay, so they have opted for 4 blockers here. They can equip one of them. Life from the Loam. Tell you what, I'm going to Force of Will this, and then I'm going to Wasteland their Bayou and see if we can get jiggy with it here. Okay, so that was good for them, not so much for me. But at least now, like, they can't quad block and trade. Oh, they have Hogak. Okay, never mind. I now I need to find Doomsday. Doomsday? Days. Yeah. So what happens here? This is actually really bad. I think I have to attack here. Yeah, I attack. Maybe they trade, and then I can daze the Hogak next turn. I think that has to be my plan. I have to wasteland here, or Life from the Loam just starts like machine gunning um, their wasteland. And maybe they don't have to play into days here, I don't think. Okay, there's a Saga. The hits keep on coming here. Okay, here we go. Bring the beats. We're still like looking good if we can draw Doomsday on this draw step here. That didn't happen. This is not a pleasant matchup, I'm not gonna lie. Ghost Quarter, okay. So they can kill their own hatchery here with the Ghost Quarter, and then get a forest, and then have Life from the Loam. Yeah, it looks like that is what's happening. Well, they can't play another land this turn, which is at least something. Also, they need to dredge Loam, I guess. But now here comes Hogak, and unless no, but they can't play in today's because that's not how Hogak works, right? Yeah, you can't spend mana, but you can spend mana to pay for days. So, and now I think I'm dead no matter what, because they get to give Hogak haste, attack me for 12, and then I think it's pretty much like it would need to be the mother of all brainstorms that I would have to find. Brainstorm into what? Brainstorm into Dark Ritual Doomsday and a Cycler, but then that doesn't do it, right? Because I would be a card short. Smack. Take 7. Okay. That wasn't the case anyways. Where does that leave us? How do we sideboard for this matchup? I think Force of Negation comes in, and Flusterstorm, and maybe Nihil Spellbomb to fight stuff like Endurance on the Doomsday, and I think we board out the Bowmasters and the Barrogoyfs. I also don't think Murktide is very interesting here. Tamiyo is fine, like making everything -1/-1 is pretty decent. I think Brazen Borrower is also acceptable, like we can bounce a Hogak to like reset them. Yeah, let's try this. I do feel like I'm supposed to try and win with Doomsday as quickly as possible. Yep, this works. Yeah. So what's the plan here? And it really is like important what course I set, because I could go for basic swamp, and then I could put two, like an underground sea and a basic island in the pile. But then what does the pile look like? It looks like 2 lands, a Thassa, and 2 cyclers. But then if they are able to somehow kill my lands, then it's, you know, it's bad news for everyone. Maybe I'm supposed to just go for the same turn win, but then how does that work? Like, let's say I go draw Brainstorm, I fetch basic island, cast Brainstorm, draw, then there are 3 cards left in the deck. They are Thassa's Oracle, LED, and a Cycler. But then there's a card left in the deck if they have removal. Or I go Flooded Strand for Underground Sea. Hope they don't wasteland me on turn 1. There's so many options. There's also the option, like we showed them Dark Ritual and Street Wraith. There's only really one deck that plays that, so it is fair to assume that they could have Endurance here. I think I will go for Underground Sea and cast Doomsday. Okay, let's start by adding the components we know we want. So we want Thassa's Oracle. We want basic island to fetch with the Misty Rainforest. We probably want Nihil Spellbomb. We might want a blue card for Force, and we might want a Cycler, but we might also want Lotus Petal. No, we absolutely need Lotus Petal or another land, because if they kill our our Underground Sea, then we can't afford to lose to that. Let's say Lotus Petal, and then I don't think we can afford to, honestly, to get a card for Force of Will. We grab Edge of Autumn. Is that a thing? I mean, they probably discard on us. They either wasteland us or discard us on turn 1. If they discard us, they're going to take Force, and I'll feel silly for having put a blue card in here. Unless that blue card is, of course, Consider. But that is too risky with us potentially having to crack a fetch before we have blue mana. So this pile, what does that look like? It looks like Snow-Covered Island on the bottom, then Thassa, then probably Lotus Petal, Edge of Autumn, and then we draw Nihil Spellbomb. Let's try this. Not sure it's fast enough, not sure if it protects us enough from the things we need to, but yeah, that's one of the things about playing this deck. It's tricky to know how to beat everything. So we said Lotus Petal, and then maybe actually the Lotus Petal is the second card we draw. Or is it? If we draw the Edge of Autumn, there is a world where we exile. Yeah, I think so. Let's just go through it. Edge of Autumn, or at draw step, draws us a card, deploys Spellbomb. Nothing happens. Second draw step, draws us a card, which is Edge of Autumn. There are 3 cards left. One gets fetched out with Misty Rainforest. One, so that's one. One can get drawn by the Edge, and then the last one could actually get drawn by the Nihil Spellbomb. Yeah, so I think actually Petal and then Edge on top of Petal. I guess that doesn't matter then. No, I'm back to not square 1, but square 3 here. So we are going to put Edge on the bottom of Petal and then draw the Spellbomb. And the reason being, like, if we want to go for that plan, we get to draw the cards anyways, because then Spellbomb. But then Spellbomb has to draw first, and that's not good. So that was actually probably a punt. Okay, we do get wastelanded. Yep, all right. Wasteland it is. So now that plan is out the window because we won't have the mana, I don't think. Maybe. All right, Spellbomb is in. If they have Ghost Quarter here, then it's bad, but not catastrophic. This could be Smallpox. Like, just Smallpox into Smallpox, and I'm out for the count. Well, I guess maybe not, technically. Okay, we can no longer draw cards with Nihil Spellbomb. So they get a 1/1. I discard Dark Ritual, and my land goes away. Okay, so we could play Petal and Misty Rainforest. If they then have Wasteland or Ghost Quarter, Mox Diamond, second Smallpox, then we lose. Where if I just keep hold of the Misty, we don't. I think I have to play out the Lotus Petal, because that is now, if that ever gets discarded, it's game over, and I think there is a bigger chance or bigger risk of that getting discarded. Or, yeah, of that, and ending up in my graveyard if it's in my hand rather than on the battlefield. Let's see here. Did we navigate this? If they have Disruptor Flute, then it's also GG's. Okay. And that is GG's. That's the card I didn't take into consideration, of course. Boseiju. Alright, I am out. GG's opponent. Alright, so I did end up dropping here at 2 and 3. And I just wanted to do a little bit of a warm down and talk about the results and how the deck played. So you see here, the losses were against Moonstompy, and then what I have dubbed Blink Beans, and then the Hatchery Pox, the Lone Pox deck. And I was not ready for Moonstompy per se, which is to basically say I have for a long time been carrying a Dismember in my sideboard, but I don't really, like, if you look at the matches, I don't think that would have mattered at all. I think that is, and remains sort of a coin flip matchup, be that if you're on Turbo or on this version, and maybe I would rather be on Turbo. but it is still a little bit of a coin toss. We lost the die roll, and uh, and yeah, we lost the round. It is hard winning game three on the draw, I think, in that matchup. Not impossible at all, but it is pretty tricky. Then we beat the blue Karn deck, which is a matchup I think is pretty tough, and I was very pleased with that. Then we beat blue red Delver, which is what I kind of expected. And the loss to the Blink Beans deck kind of chafes because we took game one and we only saw the basic islands, and I completely, like, well, I won't say I completely got it wrong because I did say that it was either a control deck or a combo deck, and a cheesy thing to say maybe, but it did kind of feel a little bit like it was somewhere in between. Um, but but yeah, I really, like, I should have boarded in Long Goodbye, or I no, that's I would have boarded in Long Goodbye if I really thought it was control, but I was very much leaning towards it being show and tell. And if I had had the Long Goodbyes, then they need Veil of Summer to not lose their Meddling Mage. But that is a like that is a matchup where it doesn't feel too great to be like trying to grind with them because they are so good at it with their beans and the Philias and the Quantum Riddlers. So I would need to like think, you know, is there a way to improve that matchup? I'm not exactly in love with personal tutor versus like control decks like that, but on the other hand, like that might be together with days and stuff, a way to resolve an early Doomsday, and then it becomes a little bit of a guessing game on like what do they have? They probably have consigned in memory. What can we do to stop that? You know, then it's back to that sort of approach. But anyways, yeah, whenever I win game one, it feels ultimately disappointing to lose the match, and that was also true here. And then versus Lone Box, I don't know. That is not for the like. I think for since they started playing this iteration of Lone Pox, where they also have Orcish Bowmasters, I've at least run into that. This opponent didn't play them. I don't know if they just didn't have them in their deck or if they just didn't see them. But like Orcish Bowmasters plus, you know, a million discard spells and like a lands style way to kill your lands is pretty frightening. I would rather be the Turbo Doomsday deck there, and then just, you know, hope to be faster and hope that Nihil Spellbomb could, you know, beat the endurance. We did almost take game two. I maybe you can weigh in on this. You know, it still just seems more likely that they would have a discard spell than Boseiju. Like even if they play four Boseiju, which I wouldn't guess they do, but maybe they do. They surely, I think, play at least four and probably more discard spells, like Thoughtseizes and Duresses or Inquisitions of Kozilek. But that was kind of feel bad. Okay, well, I mean, you can't win them all. A bit of a bummer to finally get to play a challenge and then kind of crash out, but hey, it is what it is. That's also Magic, and it doesn't really take me off the high I have with this deck, I have to say. So, yeah, we move on. Thanks so much for watching, and yeah, I'll be back with some more Legacy. Bye bye.